Hi everyone, welcome to EduKaji. I'm Cikgu Gan, your biology teacher. Today we will discuss trial paper Set 1 Selangor 2022. Okay, let's begin. What is the correct step after forming a hypothesis? So the question is asking what is the correct step. So this question is quite easy. So the correct step after forming a hypothesis is to control the variables. The following statements are the characteristic of organelle S. The interior contains aqueous solution that has enzyme, has a double layer membrane, contains single DNA, right? So here the characteristic is referring to chloroplast, because chloroplast has enzyme in its stroma, right? And chloroplast also consists of a double layer. Okay, it's a double layer, and it has a thylakoid and grana. So here is the cytoplasm of the chloroplast, which contains a lot of enzyme. Okay, number 3, diagram 1 shows substance R that is needed by the root cell of plant. What is substance R? Okay, so the transport process of R requires energy. So what is substance R? Now, the substance that requires energy to be transported would be potassium ion, right? Water, oxygen, the transport, and as well as the glucose transport does not require energy. All these A, B, and D are through passive transport. Yeah. Diagram 2 shows a graph of an experiment result to determine the concentration of potato cell sap. Which of the points represent the concentration of sucrose solution, which is hypertonic towards potato cell sap? Okay, so here you can see the concentration is increasing. Hypertonic means the solution outside the cell has a higher concentration of sucrose solution compared to the sap cell inside the cell. So here the answer is D. Okay, when the concentration of sucrose solution is higher than the inside the cell will lose water through diffusion, osmosis. Yeah, so therefore the percentage of change in mass will decrease. Now at point C is the point of isotonic concentration. Yeah. Diagram show part of a DNA molecule. Okay, so just okay, so now we are at question 5. Diagram 3 show part of a DNA molecule. Which pair of nitrogenous base represent X and Y? Okay, so for X here, this is a DNA molecule. So DNA have A, T, G, C, adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So any of this pair, AT or GC, right? So it can be TA or AT. So answer is B. Question 6. Which structure requires activation energy to break the bond in its molecule? Now, B is a enzyme and A is the substrate and C is the product. So, and substrate requires activation energy to break the bond in order for this mechanism or catabolism to take place. Okay, so answer is A. Number 7. Enzyme X is a type of immobilized enzyme that is extracted from the bacteria used in the treatment of blood clot in artery. What is enzyme X? Okay, so to treat enzyme that used to be to treat blood clot is trypsin. Okay, so trypsin is a type of enzyme which can treat blood clot. Number 8. Diagram 5 show a procedure used to replace damaged tissue due to a burn or accident. So the tissue are taken from part of the body and transferred to the part that is burned. Which of the statement clarify the success of the transferred tissue procedure? Now the tissue are able to divide by mitosis. Okay, this is very important in order for the tissue to quickly increase in number to cover the wound, right? So that will ensure that the procedure is successful. Okay. Diagram 6 shows stage in a type of cell division. What is the stage of cell division? Right, so if you look at the chromosome, now the chromosome shows that it has reached the opposite pole and there is already formation of vesicle. So this is at the end of telophase going into cytokinesis really. Yeah? Question 10. Diagram 7 show the graph of oxygen utilization in the type of respiration that take place in human muscle during vigorous activity. Which of the following is correct about phase Q? Now here, this is the part where the person is exercising. Okay, so here oxygen depth occur, and here oxygen depth peak. Okay, so it's the recovery process here. So when oxygen depth is paid, the oxidation of lactic acid will be completed. Once all the lactic acid that has accumulated in a muscle cell has been oxidized completely, then we say oxygen depth has been paid. Okay. Question 11. Oxygen is taken during inhalation while carbon dioxide is released during exhalation. What is the pathway of oxygen from atmosphere to the lung? Pathway from atmosphere to the lung. So obviously you have to start with the trachea. So this is quite simple. Trachea, bronchus, bronchiole, and alveolus. So answer is C. Number 12. Diagram 8 shows the human digestive system. Which organ is involved in the digestion of protein into polypeptide? Okay, so protein digestion occurs first in the stomach. So the answer is C. A is liver. Liver, there is no digestion. B is the ileum. And D is the large intestine. There's no digestion of protein. Yeah. Number 13. Which of the following blood cell produces thrombokinase? Okay, thrombokinase is a activator involved in the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. So that is produce the product of platelet. Platelet is involved in blood clotting. Number 14. Diagram 9 show blood clotting mechanism. Which of the following represent P, Q, and R? Okay, so P is prothrombin. Okay, Q referring to the earlier question, yeah. is actually thrombokinase. And R is the conversion from fibrinogen to fibrin by thrombin, right? So answer is A. An accident victim which has blood group B need a blood transfusion immediately. Okay, which of the following group is safe to be accepted by the victim? Now, the person has blood group B. Okay, so blood group B, of course, can receive blood from his own same blood group, and also O, because O is a universal donor. So answer is C. Diagram 10 show the action of antibody to destroy antigen. Which of the following refer to the action of the antigen? Now, you can see that here before the phagocyte engulf and ingest the antigen, the antibody come and mark it. Okay, so here the phagocyte can recognize and destroy the antigen that has been marked by the antibody, right? So the antibody has already marked the antigen, so it's easily identified by the phagocyte. So answer is C. Question 17. Now, question 17 shows the national immunization program in Malaysia. Which of the following graph shows the immunity acquired by the child to prevent from measles diseases? Okay, so measles here, right, you have measles here, you have measles here, measles here. Okay, so you can see that measles require more than a dose here, right? 2 doses. So here we are looking at a graph that requires the antibody to rise up above the immunity level. Okay, so for measles, first injection or first dose will not reach the immunity level. You need 2 doses for it to pass the immunity level. Okay, so these are not the answer, yeah. So the answer here is A. Okay, the process is immunization, or what we call as vaccination. Okay, so this is artificial active immunity. So the child is being injected with the vaccine against measles, yeah. Okay, so answer is A. Number 18, the following information show the step in the coordination of fight or flight. Which of the following sequence is correct during this situation? Okay, so the first thing is you need to detect first the situation or the stimulus, so R, and then after that you will have to send the information to adrenal gland, which will then convert more glycogen into glucose so that you can increase your energy production. So answer is D, yeah. The following information are about the osmoregulation by kidney. Osmoreceptors are stimulated. Posterior lobe of pituitary gland secrete W. Okay, so the question asks, what are the changes that cause the osmoreceptor to be stimulated and its effect on the process of kidney? Okay, so it's stimulated and then the posterior secrete W, which is ADH, yeah. So here, the process, what happened is that W, which is the hormone ADH, will always increase the permeability of distal convoluted tubule to water. Okay, and then The other thing is, as a result, is this occur when a person loses too much of water during vigorous activity. So W will become more permeable so that more water is reabsorbed from the tubule into the blood capillary. Okay, so because here it's stated that the osmolar receptor are stimulated, so you need to reabsorb more water. Okay, so answer here is D, yeah, 2 and 3. Right, number 20. Diagram 11 shows the human muscle and bone at knee joint. Which of the following statements are correct about the characteristic and function of structure Z? So structure Z here is elastic and connect bone to bone. So it's actually ligament. It connect bone to bone. Okay. This is a muscle here. So this part here is actually tendon. Okay, and this is the cartilage. Okay, number 21. Which of the following show the correct sequence in the development of a human zygote? Okay, this is quite simple. So zygote, morula, blastocyst, then only embryo. Okay. Diagram show the growth zone of the longitudinal section of a shoot tip. Which of the following statement is correct about zone Z? Okay, so zone Z here is below the zone of cell division. Here is the zone of cell division. Zone P here is actually zone of cell elongation. Okay, so the answer here, the correct about zone P is actually it involves the process of vacuolation. Now, vacuolation means the small vacuole inside the cytoplasm will start to combine to become a large central vacuole. Okay. Diagram 13 shows the carbon dioxide uptake and release by a plant during a period of time. Which of the following statement correctly describe the situation at M? Now, at M is called the compensation point, whereby it is the light intensity when P is equal to R, or photosynthesis is equal to respiration. So the oxygen produced from photosynthesis is used for cellular respiration. Now, this occurred usually during low light intensity when whatever oxygen produced by the leaf is not being released out, but instead is used back for its own consumption for cellular respiration. And the cellular respiration will produce CO2, which then used back by the leaf for photosynthesis. Answer is A. Number 24, which of the following are the adaptive characteristic of the root epidermal tissue to increase the absorption of water and mineral salt? So we are looking at the adaptive characteristic. Now, it has a large vacuole. Okay, so the root epidermal cell normally has a very large vacuole in the middle here. Okay. And it also has, it is not covered by cuticle, meaning cuticle is waterproof, and you know that the epidermal cannot be waterproof. In that case, then the root cannot carry out its function of absorbing water and mineral salt. So therefore, the root hair is not covered by cuticle. Now, cuticle is only found on the leaf. The answer here is B. Okay, 25. A farmer found that the growth of his crop was stunted, the leaf was distorted and low. What's the cause? Okay, so low is stunted and low and distorted. This is calcium deficiency. 26. At which part the capillary action occur to transport water and mineral salt? Okay, so this is quite simple. Capillary action occurs at the stem in the xylem vessel. Okay, so that's where you find the adhesive and the cohesive pores acting to hold the water within the column of the xylem vessel. Number 27, which of the diagram here show growth response of P and Q towards light stimulus? Which of the following explain the response? Okay, so let's look at the response here. Now, after 5 days, you find that even though it's covered by a cap, a black cap, it still grow, increase in height. And for a seedling that is covered by a transparent cap, it will move, it still grow and it still, but it move to the direction of the light. Okay, so for seedling P, the distribution of auxin is actually very uniform. Doesn't matter from which direction the sunlight is coming, the auxin still distribute or diffuse downward equally, so it goes upward. Whereas for seedling Q, the sunlight comes from one direction, so that's why the accumulation of more auxin over the shaded side, that stimulate elongation more than the illuminated side. So answer is A. Yeah. Okay, number 28. Which of the following is correct about X, Y, and Z? Now, diagram shows actually the pollen mother cell changing into Y, and then after that, the tube nucleus and the generative nucleus is formed. So here the answer is C. So the meiosis will produce haploid cell, all right? 4, okay, microspores. Okay, so this meiosis, and then each of these microspore will then divide by mitosis to form a cell with 2 nucleus. One is a tube nucleus, the other one is a generative nucleus. So each microspore has 2 nucleus. Okay, so the answer is C, meiosis, producing haploid microspore, which then undergo mitosis to form 2 nucleus. A farmer cut the stigma of the flower. He then sprayed auxin hormone and he discovered fruit formed a few weeks later. Which of the following is correct about the production of fruit? Now, he already cut away the stigma, which means that the flower will not have stigma to allow pollen grain to drop on it. So he had sprayed with an hormone, which is auxin, and this auxin causes the development of ovary to form fruit. That means partenocarpy. That means inducing the flower to produce fruit without fertilization. Right, so the answer is D. Okay, number 30. Some plants have flower with stamen position lower than the stigma. Okay, so that means, let's say we have this stigma here. This is stigma, yeah. But the stamen is lower. I mean, maybe the stamen is like this. This is the stamen, and you know that stamen contain pollen grain, and pollen grain need to drop onto the stigma before the germination of pollen tube can occur. So what's the effect if the position of the stamen is lower than the stigma? Okay, so which means that now for this flower here, the pollen grain is quite hard to drop on itself. So most likely, more pollen grain from other different flower will drop onto the stigma. Okay, so in a way, it also reduces self-pollination. Okay, and it allows more pollen grain from different flower to fall onto the stigma. So you encourage not from the same pollen grain from the same flower, but from different flower. Okay. So more pollen grain from different flower fall on the stigma. Yeah. Which of the following statement is true about halophytes? Now, halophytes are plant that grows in swampy area, high salt, high salinity. This includes the mangrove trees. Mangrove trees live in swampy area that has very high salinity in the soil. So to adapt to this condition, usually this plant have adaptodes to remove the excess salt. Okay. Which of the following statement is correct about the importance of classification system? Now, classification to ensure that the scientists all over the world can identify different species easier, and that makes the sharing of information to be much easier at the international level. Diagram 17 shows the structure of a bacterial cell. Which of the following distinguishes this bacterial cell from eukaryotes? Here, you can see that the DNA is not contained inside the membrane, the nuclear membrane. It's found scattered. So here, this is what is different of this bacterial cell, which is the archaebacteria, from the eukaryotes. The DNA is dispersed in the cytoplasm, but all eukaryotes have DNA enclosed within a nuclear membrane, right? So 34, which of the following statement best describe the interaction? So this is an interaction between the shark and the remora fish. Okay, so these two interaction here is commensalism, in which one species, which is the remora fish, benefited from the host, which is the shark. The shark is the host. So the remora fish will eat the residue of food that dropped down from the mouth of the shark, which is the host. So they get free ride and free food. Whereas the shark, it means nothing to them. They don't benefit, neither are they harmed by the interaction. Okay, so answer is B. Number 35, a group of students carry out an experiment to determine the level of water pollution in river X and Y. The table show below the result of the experiment. So the time taken for methylene blue solution to decolorize is shorter for Y. Okay, so you must see the time there. Time is important here. So which means that Y is more polluted because it takes a shorter time for the blue solution to decolorize. So that means river Y has the most number of bacteria. because it's polluted, yeah. 36. Which of the following statements are practices in sustaining the environment? So to sustain the environment, you need to ensure that air condition operates between 24 to 27. Okay. And then is to use rainwater. Use rainwater to water plants. Rainwater means you harvest rainwater, you collect rainwater. Okay. So answer is C. A livestock farmer wants to produce the same ratio of black rabbits and white rabbits. Black fur H is dominant against white fur. What is the genotype of the parents? Now, if you want to produce equal number of black and white rabbits, okay, you try this one first. Okay, you can try any of the answer. Okay, so I'm going to do it in a short form, right? So this one will produce H gamete. Okay, this one HH, only one type. So then you have the fertilization. Here is meiosis. So this one will produce HH. Sorry, between these. Okay, so you will get HH. Then this one and this one you'll get HH. Okay, so now you have and so that means 1 to 1. So you say here you want to produce equal number, right? Equal number of the same ratio. Okay, so answer is B. Diagram shows two types of genetic diseases. What are the type of mutation represented by the disease? Okay, so this is polydactylism. Okay, this is Down syndrome. So Down syndrome is caused by chromosomal mutation, and polydactylism with an extra finger here is caused by gene mutation. So answer is B. Okay, 39. Diagram show the combination of chromosome produced in gamete after meiosis 2. Okay, this is metaphase 1, then metaphase 2, then the gamete. Which of the following is the cause for the gamete produced to have genetic variation? Okay, so the genetic variation here is caused by different chromosome combination. So you can see this is called independent assortment, in which the homologous chromosome can align themselves at the equatorial plane at whichever position. So you can see the first picture here, the blue and the blue are on the same side, and the red and the red are on the same side. And this is opposite from the first arrangement. Here the blue is pairing up with the red, and another blue pairing up with another red. So this result in different combination because of the independent assortment of homologous chromosome during metaphase 1. Okay. Okay, the last question. Which of the following is correct about the purpose of production of genetically modified organism? Okay, genetically modified organism is we want to produce plants that are highly resistant to diseases, to pesticide, to pests, right? So answer is D. Okay, so with that, I completed paper 1 of set 1, Selangor State Paper, Trial Paper 2022. All right, I see you the next segment. Bye.